A Hunter in Teyvat, Chapter 106. Fan Fiction, by Azazyel. Ei's eyes as she looked upon me were rather scary, but then a light entered her eyes as she remarked bluntly. "Jake, don't you already have a harem?" In that blonde Lumine, another woman with a Cryo Vision besides Shenhe and possibly that weird flying creature Paimon. My face twitched at hearing her words and I snapped out instantly. I am not involved with Paimon. That floating little mascot eats so damned much that her eating bills were enough to kick me up a tax bracket in my old world. And I couldn't help but evilly chuckle at times knowing that Lumine was now bearing the cost of supporting that flying food vacuum. But I just raised an eyebrow at my outburst and I shook my head, and taking a breath I held Shenhe's hand and said, Yes, I do have a harem. Sure, Lumine was a greedy goblin who also loved the female form, but hell. If my ageless lover also wanted me to drag more ladies into our bed, who the hell was I to say no? She slowly nodded, and then after a moment without a change in expression tilted her head to the side and asked bluntly. Then Jake, may I join your harem? My face at hearing that. I was stock still with my face twitching as looked at me with utter sincerity in asking that. She wasn't joking at all in asking that. But knowing this was complicated, to say the least, I sighed and sat up with Shenhe growling cutely with her hands curling up in my outfit's back as she tried to gently pull me back down into her lap so she could continue her meditative spoiling of my snowy hair. I remained undeterred by Shenhe's needy behavior and I matched Ei's gaze as I answered clearly. Ei. You are emotional with your sister's return, you do not love me, you are my martial master and dash. Before I could continue, Ei cut me off with her eyes glowing with her electro power that made my chest shudder as lightning cracked in the skies above us with divine might, making the palace shake. Jake Barris, do not mistake my words. I am not rushing into things. Makoto and I were born of the same divine lightning bolt. We shared everything and slaughtered gods together in taking Inazuma for ourselves and our retainers. She looked at me not as my martial master or teacher in the ways of electromanipulation, and instead as a hollowed-out person who had seen too many things in her several millennia of life. I lost everything and everyone during the Archon War and the fall of Kenria, Jake, and you are here dangling my beloved twin, my literal other half, in front of me. I will be following you to the ends of Teyvat, and nothing can stop that unless you kill me. Before I could respond to that declaration, Shenhe squeezed my shoulder and said, She wants to make you happy so your soul will heal her sister more. Along with making sure that you don't die and Makoto is thus lost. Don't overthink it, Jake. I slowed down and took a deep breath and ordered my thoughts before I opened my eyes and looked back to Ei, who shifted slightly with her arms folding under her chest as she endured my look as I spoke. Ei, you are the Raiden Shogun, you can't just run around Teyvat with us, right? To my question, Ei just blinked and smiled before saying flatly. And who could or would stop me from my wanderings? Barbados is a useless drunkard. Rex Lapis hides in his mountain all year long and only comes out once a year at best, and the rest of the Archons are either shadows of their former selves or are in hiding to avoid erosion from Celestia's laws. She shook her head and continued. I myself fall into the recluse category, as for the last century before the Raiden Shogun decided to start the Vision Hunt decree, I would only give the Tricommission orders once every few years while they take care of Inazuma's day-to-day operations. Ei took a step closer and then elegantly kneeled to sit on her heels in the typical Inazuma/Japanese style as she looked into my eyes, and with total seriousness she said. Yes, you are right, though I do not love you, Jake. I do however respect you as my student and as a worthy man, but arranged marriages are common in Inazuma and feelings between the two of us can be cultivated in due time. I closed my eyes as I mentally screamed. And then at the thought of Lumine's mischievous face when she realizes I bagged both Ei and Shenhe as my lovers, I mentally screamed louder. Oh, dear gods. That blonde little gremlin is just going to be proud of me and happy to have, in her own words, tall thick dummy mommies to be spoiled by. I thought before Ei cut off my thoughts. So, Jake, will you accept? I opened my eyes, and as I met EI's glowing purple eyes with a spark of blue-toned electro-lightning in her irises, I realized that I was damned either way, and this wasn't going to go any other way. So I stiffened my shoulders and I said frankly, I will accept your courtship, and inclusion into my harem, making finger air quotes as I said it, but I continued. If you do 2 things for me, just 2 tasks. EI nodded and said with a small smile, consider it already done then. I gave a wry smile and then said, all right then. I want you to end Inazuma's civil war without more deaths, and then end the vision hunt decree and have your men and Kuju Sarah return your people's visions. And without losing that smile, EI simply said with complete confidence, all right. Although ending the civil war without more deaths could be difficult, but I will have it done within the next 3 days then. Next 10 chapters are on Patreon and Ko-Fi. Hey, if you like this and want daily uploads and to read early chapters, please drop a tip in my Ko-Fi https://ko-fi.com/Azazyel22926 or https://www.piatre-un.com/Azazyel, and your precious energy stones. It keeps me working on it. My commission rate is $15 per 1,000 words.